Welcome to the Manufacturing Shakeup. We're your hosts, Ellen Feldman-Ornato
and Jenny Drescher. We're talking with dynamic women from across the manufacturing scene in Connecticut.
Colleen Bielitz, welcome to the Manufacturing Shakeup. We are delighted to have you here this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here, Ellen. Thank you for having me as a guest on your show.
We are so delighted and can't wait to hear more about the Women Million Mentors organization that you're the chair of. But before we get to that, can you tell us a little bit about what it is and what it means to be the AVP of Strategic Initiatives and Outreach for SCSU, and like what that means and where that takes you in our community?
Yeah, well, it's definitely an interesting job, and it has taken me to know Connecticut very well. I've had to network and meet a number of people as I look to what is going to be important 10 years down the road for the state of Connecticut, and what is it that our students really need to learn about and have the skill set in. So we've partnered with a number of local Connecticut businesses and different organizations and have brought in a number of new initiatives to the university so that our students are well prepared, because it's going to be, a very interesting next 10 years. And I just wanted to make sure that all of our students have the skills necessary when they graduate to be able to be successful in that brave new world, I have to say. So it's an interesting position. I'm constantly drinking from the fire hose as far as, new technologies. I'm a lifelong learner myself. So AI and XR technology are actually my areas right now that I'm deeply into, and sustainability, blue economy. So a number of different areas.
Very, very cool. And I understand you come from a family and a long line of people who've been involved in the manufacturing sector. So take us through a couple of those iterations. Who's in your family? What do they do?
I know. Well, it's true. Even though I'm in academia, everybody in my family, except my 10-year-old son, are also in manufacturing. So my mother had a long career in aerospace and finished at Boeing. My wife actually is a mechanical engineer working for a company in Torrington, Connecticut, manufacturing a light cured adhesive manufacturing company. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, niece, nephew, all work in they work in the life sciences or medical device manufacturing. So a number of them are in Medtronic, which is right here in New Haven as well. So yeah, I mean, the whole gamut. Everybody's in manufacturing in one way or the other.
Fantastic. So, it's only natural that your curiosity would go to how do we build more capacity for the manufacturing sector? And what we're really here to talk about today is mentoring and the Million Women Mentors, which is a national organization, but Connecticut is right at the top of the list in terms of your strategy and all of that. But before we talk about that piece, let's dial it back to when you say mentor, what does that mean? What is it? What actually is a mentor?
I'd say mentoring, it's a one-on-one partnership based on a mutual desire for development. And mentorship can actually be two different things, in my opinion. I feel that one of the things it could be is that you're someone that's there to advise or to train or to help someone to get into a particular field or on a particular career trajectory. And the second part of mentorship is what I call sponsorship. So that is women that not only mentor, but sponsor other women. And when a name comes up for a particular project, they say, oh, have you thought about Sarah for this particular project? Or have you thought about, having Julianne step into this leadership position to sponsor and advocate other women within their organization? So I feel that there are two different kinds of mentors that you can have.
Okay, so one is more technical and job specific. The other is more career trajectory and how people move along through their careers.
Yes.
And are there coaches at all levels of organizations?
Well, there aren't coaches, but I feel that there should be coaches, and especially for women. I feel that men often are inclined to help other men, older men constantly are helping the younger men get a step up, or, oh, let me show you how to do this, or I'll bring you into my department, you can explore, but women don't have those same types of opportunities. So that's why it's important for women to recognize that and to, kind of reach out and lift other women up in that same type of way. Oh, I see that you have talent in this specific area. Have you ever thought about getting into this division of the business? There's a move, you can make a move up here. And women have to be advocates for other women, because men definitely are advocates for men.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've talked to a bunch of women on this podcast who've said, I've had a lot of male mentors in my life, and some that have said, I've had none, and I really just grew my career kind of on my own steam and didn't really have other people lifting me up or guiding me. So I think it really runs the gamut. And so I have a question for you, though, about the level within the organization. Like, does somebody who's an engineer with maybe 1 year under her belt, like, does she have potential to be a mentor for someone?
Oh, absolutely. So she could have experiences that maybe then she has someone that's in college and is looking for someone to, what's going to happen if I get into this field? What's that first year going to be like? So a young woman who has had that experience can be a mentor to somebody in middle school, which I would love, to somebody in high school, and then also to somebody in college. So you're never, I want to say, if you have at least a year under your belt working, you could be a mentor for sure. And it's a good point, because younger women relate, when I go in and I talk to students in middle school, it's not the same as somebody who has just graduated from college and has like a year or two under her belt going and speaking to, young women. They can see what they can become immediately, and then I'm further down the line.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple other podcast guests that are coming up who are relatively new to their careers, and they're working directly with high schools and talking with kids, and they're on the production side of the house. So they're people who are actually making things, who came out of high school and said, I'm not really sure what I want to do yet, and wound up in manufacturing, not intentionally. We call them accidental manufacturers, right? But then once they get into it and they realize that it's a career they love, they're reaching back into the high schools and saying, this isn't just like the default if you don't go to college. This is like an actual choice that you can be making.
Yeah. And there's, we did a Pathways to STEM with CCATs in the Connecticut Science Center. And we had 4 young panelists, 3 of whom were women. And I kind of did a social experiment and asked each of the panelists, what was your favorite subject in school? And 2 of the young women said math, and the other young woman said physics. And then the gentleman had mentioned physics as well. But I'll tell you something that I thought was very interesting is that 2 of the young women on the panel who said that math was their favorite also said that they had the opportunity to take shop classes, and that having that experience where, I don't know about you, but I was always kind of steered towards, home ec. They said that having the experience of making things with their hands lit a light bulb inside of them, and they thought, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to make things. And so it's extremely important to know that one is going for her, mechanical engineering degree, and the other one decided just to go and work, and she's working up at Phoenix Manufacturing, which is a female-owned operations up in Enfield, Connecticut. So I thought that was great, that the light bulb went off, and she's working there, and she loves it.
So your organization, the Million Women Mentors, specifically matches, am I right, that you match people with mentors and mentees? Is that correct?
Yeah. So Million Women Mentors is in 40 different states, and there's usually a honorary chair. Our honorary chair is Lieutenant Governor Susan Beisowitz. So it's a network dedicated to encouraging girls and women to pursue, persist, and to succeed in STEM careers. And the reason it was created is because 52% of the college-educated workforce, are women, but yet only 29% of those are in STEM fields. And unfortunately, 50% of the women that join those STEM fields, they drop out within the first 12 years. And that's usually because, if you think about 12 years out of school, that's when people start, having families and everything like that. And that's when women usually end up dropping out because maybe the workforce policies aren't female friendly, or they don't have maternity leave, or they don't, there's all these little things. So I was named the state leader for Million Women Mentors. It's an all voluntary organization. And when I talked to all of my volunteers, I said, what do you need? And they said, we need a way for mentors and mentees to connect. So through the Office of Manufacturing and Paul Lavoie, he helped me kick off. We have a mentorship map for Connecticut. If you go to Million Women Mentors, that pulls up all 40 states. Connecticut is the featured state because we've unveiled a comprehensive database of accomplished women leaders in STEM from various companies and professions. We can now deliver vital information on mentoring availability, expertise in specialized areas. And we can equip mentees with these cutting edge tools to forge connections with mentors and other women that are in fields like them. I'm part of Elevate Her, and we had a lot of women who work the line in manufacturing, and maybe they do third shift. Well, it's not, they don't have networking opportunities for, women who work third shift at night. You know what I mean? If you're working at 3 a.m., it's hard to network with a bunch of other women. But through our website, you can create affinity groups that are women just like you, and you can get together with other women, and you can post events. Like at the top, there's a number of different tabs once you go into the app. And I have the manufacturing shakeup as the key event right now listed at the top of the page.
Thank you.
Yes, you bet.
Thank you.
It's extremely important. I think you had last week you had Bigelow on from Bigelow Tea, and
Cindy Bigelow. Yeah.
Yep, Cindy said, "Lift the room," and I say, "Lift the state." Like, let's bring everybody together, and I'm just here to amplify the work that is being done. So luckily, I've had the chance to meet a lot of wonderful women, like Elena from CT Tech Council, Jody at BioCT. I mean, you just name all the brilliant organizations where we have female leaders. I'm here to amplify the work that is being done by other women.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about the mentors and the people that are on the database. Can you talk a little bit about being a great mentee? So, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, for mentees, I'd say that there's 4 different things that you have to do. Number one is you have to pick the right mentor. So you have to really look at what it is that you want to do, or who is doing all the things that you're good at. So if you have specific talents and you're like, I wonder if I could put all these together into a job, and then you find that person. And then through our website, you can reach out to other mentors, and I would schedule either coffee, because I feel like nothing replaces face-to-face, but Zoom is great as well. And have like a 10 to 15 minute talk and see if you jive, because really chemistry is extremely important. The second thing that a mentee should have is 3 different skills or 3 different things that they want to improve upon themselves, right? That's why they're going for a mentor. So they should have specifically in mind what they want to accomplish with their mentor. The third thing is to also have a positive attitude, to have the right attitude. I've mentored many women that I will give them, if they ask me, like, how do I get into this? I'll put them in situations that may not make them comfortable, have them step outside of their comfort zone. Like, they have to have the right attitude and say, yes, I'm going to do this. Nothing's more disappointing than when you meet with them the next week and they're like, oh, no, I didn't do it, or I didn't have a chance to, because your mentor is putting in time. So you have to have the right attitude and put in the time and, make steps forward in what you've been asked to do. And then lastly is focus your time, right? They should have their questions ahead of time. You shouldn't be late for a meeting with a mentor because they're volunteering their precious time. Everybody's time is very important. You need to be cognizant of that. So, a mentee has, just as big a role too, because they're kind of guiding the mentor on the path that they'd like to take.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if I were starting out, if I'm listening to this and I'm
Mm.
thinking, I think I really would like to have a career mentor. Can I
Mhm.
expect that that mentor is going to be with me for the rest of my career and that that's always going to be the right person for me?
No, I wouldn't say so. I'd say that you can have many different mentors throughout your, journey through life. The funny thing is, when I talk to other female leaders, I always say, like, none of us have had this straightforward path, to get where we are. Like, it's a
Yeah.
very circuitous route that we've all taken, and we've all developed different skills along the way. So different mentors will help you with different things. If you want to be a leader, then you don't necessarily need to follow somebody that is in your industry, right? They could be taking you through leadership in different ways. If you want to get into a particular position, at a company, then you could have a mentor that is doing the work now and kind of lays out how they got there. And like I said, and if you have chemistry with somebody and, then you hit a point where it's like, that they can't help you anymore. I mean, it's okay to say, I value your time, but I'm looking forward to, moving and, seeking another line of expertise.
Right. Right. And do you have a favorite personal anecdote about being mentored?
Yeah, well, like you said, I feel that I have not necessarily been mentored, but another thing Cindy Bigelow had said were women that role model behaviors that you want to see. And I remember, when I was in my 20s, there was a woman, who was probably 10 years older than me. And she had worked, I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and she had worked at Villanova University. And when I would see her, she would always ask me specific questions. And I always watched the way that she conducted herself. And I felt like, oh, I want to be like Brenda one day. Like, she just seemed to really kind of master the room and knew how to network. And, so I want to say that a lot of times you could be an inadvertent mentor. I had told her,
Mm,
now 20 years later, that she was a mentor to me, and she was very touched by that, but she really had no idea. But I learned by watching her and the way that she was with people and how kind she was, and her demeanor, and that was the way that I wanted to be.
I love
Yeah.
that. That's a great place to sort of tie a bow on this. At the end of our
Mm.
episodes, we talk about shakeup factors. And
Mm.
so the things that I heard from you today, and feel free to elaborate or add anything, is that for mentees, it's really important to talk to a variety of people and make sure that you find a good fit,
Yes.
that you try to find a way to carve out the time to meet them in person if you can, because face to face makes a big difference, and have a positive attitude and respect their time.
Mhm.
And if it's, if the relationship sunsets because you need to go on to something else, be kind, be clear, be grateful, and then move on to something else. So that was
Yes.
one, is how to be a good mentee. The
Yes.
other thing I heard from you that I loved was like, be like Brenda, like find people who are out there in the world. They don't have to be a direct and formal mentor to you, but that you can start to notice the behaviors of people around you who you admire and start to figure out ways to emulate that for yourself. And then the last thing that I heard that I thought was important was that if you're a mentor signing up for the database, that you keep in mind that you also as a mentor might want to have specific goals and know what you're good at and who would be a good fit for you, because you may have goals too in terms of learning how to mentor people. And so there's a huge advantage to being part of that database, being known, being seen, and having the opportunity to create your own affiliate groups inside of that ecosystem. So
Yes.
I hope I encapsulated that for you. It's been super cool having you here. I can't wait to
Oh,
check out your website. Do you want to
I know.
share the actual website for the people who are listening?
Sure. It's Million Women Mentors. Just type it into your search bar, and it'll come up MWM STEM Connector. And then you can click to become a mentor, to join. So you just, put in your name, and then you'll create a password. And then it's that easy. Then you can add to your profile what your specific skill sets are, where you're located at. And then people can message you if they want to be a mentee, or you can post events. I really would love this to connect all of women in Connecticut so that they see all of the opportunities that are out there for women and take advantage of it. Because if they're stuck in a job that they're not happy with, that doesn't respect women, our group will post jobs that say, come here instead. We'd love to have your talent, your expertise.
That's right. So folks, you heard Colleen Bielitz here on the manufacturing shakeup, shaking up our Connecticut manufacturing sector. It's no wonder you were the winner of the 2023 STEM Innovation Award.
Yeah.
We thank you for your service to women in Connecticut and look forward to seeing you out at meetings and on the Women Million Women Mentors site. There we go.
That sounds great. And thanks for all the work that you and Jenny do, and I appreciate it. So have a wonderful day, Ellen.
Thanks, you too. It's been a blast talking with you. Thanks for listening to the Manufacturing Shakeup. You can listen to us each week on your favorite podcast app. You'll find us on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. And if you use the hashtag MFG Shakeup, we will see them and really appreciate your spreading the word about what you're hearing and learning each week. Hey, Jenny, did I forget anything?
Yes, you did. Here's the most important bit. You may have learned something from that guest. They may have told a story about, oh, here's what I did and here how it worked. Here at the Manufacturing Shakeup, we are all about action. So take some nugget of what you heard today and put it into practice, even if it's small and experimental. Get busy, get dangerous, go shake stuff up, and bring people along with you. Go take an action, post it on social media. Let's have some fun.
The Manufacturing Shakeup is sponsored by the Connecticut Office of Manufacturing, produced by Maselli Productions and Gale Communications, and hosted by the Boulder Company.